What is up, everyone? How are you doing today? My name is Mise. Today I am back today with another discussion piece. Yes, my discussion pieces, I usually talk a little bit more, or I wanted to animate, but I think for now I'm just going to leave the animations, or the more detailed, the better looking videos, just the anime reviews, and then the discussions and trailer talks we could just do in this section. And as you can also see, my room doesn't look as dark and bad lighted as it did, or at least as it did before. I changed my light bulbs and all that stuff, but that's beside before. But today, we're going to have a discussion that I've been wanting to have for a very, very long time. And today, we're going to be having a discussion on the Big Three. Now, most people in the anime community know what the Big Three is. It's the big, most popular, some considered best anime out there, at least in terms of the shonen genre, where there is One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. But if you don't know exactly like the origin, the details, originally the Big Three was coined by the Shonen Jump magazine back in 2004, where they wanted to give a title to some of their best-selling manga, and they came up with the Big Three. And over time now, it being 16 years later, we are now at a point where not only do we have the Big Three that is just grown outside of the shonen manga, where they have stayed pretty much consistently the Big Three, but it's evolved from just being manga sales to people looking at it as kind of this gold standard of anime. And as of last year, and I want to say even like 2 years ago, people have been having the discussion on if it's time for a change in the Big Three. Now, I'll answer that question in a little bit, but you probably clicked on this video because you saw my title. And let me answer your question on why I personally dislike the Big Three. Fucking computer. Now, before I go into that detail, I do want to go ahead and at least state that nothing that I am saying here in this video right now, I consider as fact, other than, what actually is the Big Three and all that. But from here on out, all of these are kind of my opinions, and as always in every video, I always invite discussion and debate on whether you agree with my opinion or not. But I just wanted to let that out because I know there are some people that might look at this as me thinking that this is fact. I don't think this is fact. This is just my own personal feelings towards the structure of the Big Three and how the anime community views those animes. But a big reason why I hate the Big Three is because, like I said before, a lot of people in the anime community view those anime as the gold standard. And maybe back then in 2004, in the early to mid 2000s, that could have been the case. I could definitely say there is an argument to be made for certain shows such as, Code Geass, but for the most part, I can see it. But we're now in 2020, like I said before, that's 16 years after the actual coinage of the Big Three term, and still to this day, only the discussion of a change or a new structure or a new employment of the Big Three has actually been talked about, and that I don't really feel happy about that, because in my opinion that change should have came a long time ago. Now, I'm not saying that the Big Three themselves are bad shows. In fact, I actually do have a fun time watching Naruto, and I do like Bleach. One Piece would be the only exception to this, and that's a whole different video for its other time, and I have a whole plan on what I want to do with that. But for the most part, I would not consider the Big Three to be bad shows. However, over the years since it's been first established, there have been many other anime that, in my opinion, have proven to be better, both in character development, world building, musical pieces, OTS's opening, story structure, actual building of villains and heroes. Like, I can go on and on about the things and flaws of the Big Three, but somehow it took us almost 20 years to actually sit there and finally consider a change to the Big Three, especially since that not only have we entered a new era, but the Big Three lasted for the whole previous era that we were in. Remember, we recently only just entered this new high animation production of era of anime, and it's only now we're having this discussion. But imagine all the anime that came out in that last decade. I mean, just looking at some of the anime that came out during 2014 itself. You have Tokyo Ghoul, Noragami, Akame Got Kill, Back Bullet, No Game No Life, even Seven Deadly Sins before it became complete and utter trash with Season 3. The list goes on. Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works came out in 2014. This discussion shouldn't have been happening now. This discussion shouldn't even been happening in 2019. This discussion should have been happening a very long time ago. In my personal opinion, I would have said this probably should have started around 2009 when Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood actually came out. But like the old adage goes, it is better late than never. When at least in terms of this, and I could definitely say that it is definitely a very interesting conversation to have. But the conversation also needs to have of, can the big three even change? Originally, this was stated as to be the shonen manga's best-selling manga, and there's been a lot of change since that's happened. And oh my god, I fucked that up so bad. Isaiah again, just cut that whole thing out. Cut that whole thing out. But of course, as the old adage goes, it is better late than never, and having this conversation now is better than never having this conversation at all. And I think it is well overdue time for us to have a change within the big three. But the question remains is, can it change? And my personal answer is yes, but the change should come from more than just the actual shows itself. I think with a new era and this whole conversation actually going underway in some forums, not as big as I would like it to have it, but the conversation is still being had, I would personally like to not only see a change in the anime being presented within the big three, but how we view the big three structure itself. The best way that I would describe this change is most likely a quality over quantity type thing. As the big three are right now, these aren't necessarily the best anime that the community has to offer, but rather these are the more popular ones, the ones that everybody knows, even if you're not an anime fan. And I want to state this right here, I am not doing this as a gatekeeping thing. If you like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, that's fine. I don't hate you for it. I might joke, but in all realness, enjoy anime the way you want to. It's very toxic for anybody to try to gatekeep anime in this way. I'm trying to approach this, however, in the sense of we should not be looking at the big three as just the ones that people talk about the most. We should be looking at the big three as the ones that can really set a prime example for a gold standard within a new era of anime. We should be looking at animes that are perfect 10s, that the community has donned some of the most perfect and most abstract animation out there. And to be fair, there are a lot of people that do praise the current big three for that, which is why it's also contradicting. But I'm talking about ones that have a bigger feel to it. And this is why it's so hard to do that, because everything is subjective. Obviously, there's going to be people that still look at the current big three as still that golden standard of anime. And while I might have my own differing opinions on it, I can definitely see that with One Piece, seeing as that's the only one that didn't stop at any point for a long period of time, such as Naruto restarted with Boruto, and us only now getting the announcement that the final arc for Bleach is actually coming out, and over time it has been improving its animation to meet with the quality of this new era that we're in. But while the current big three still do all that, they still do it kind of within the confinedness of just typical anime tropes. We need to be looking at anime that bridge that gap, that think outside of the box, that think in various different kinds of ways that make their animes so unique and amazing and very different from the bunch. While One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto do stand out as some of the bigger ones. They are really no different to a lot of the current animes that we've seen in previous times. However, the new era of anime has actually given us some pretty good high quality anime, and right now there it is a big three that I've seen a lot of the community kind of agree on, but I also do not agree with that current big three. My fucking window, Jesus Christ. The new lineup that the community seems to agree on the most, or at least I've seen the most consensus on, is the lineup of My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and Boruto. Now, I have a lot of problems with Boruto, and just like the One Piece video, I can make a whole other video on that, but the reason why I dislike both My Hero Academia and Black Clover and Boruto in this situation is because they do the exact same things that One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach do, but just kind of a little better with better looking animation. They don't think outside the box, they don't try anything new really, they're just animes with long episodes with, to be admitted, very granular and thought out worlds, but still have various problems in terms of storytelling and plot development, and okay, the music's actually really good in these, but you get my point. Going to these big three is no different than going to the other big three that we had in previous time. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's fine to like these anime. Like I said before, I don't hate you if you do like these anime. Hell, I can admit I have problems with My Hero Academia. I have a My Hero Academia shirt. Oh, obviously, in some way, I like the show, and I'm probably gonna get called out in comments for calling out the show and calling the show trash while I literally am wearing a shirt of a My Hero Academia shirt, but I think that's what we need to do in order to actually move and change to a big three that is quality over quantity. While we do like these shows, and these shows can be fun, we have to admit to ourselves that a fun show does not always correlate with being a good show. There are a lot of really bad shows in the anime community. One in particular is Neo Yokio, and I fucking hate that show so much. However, I would be a liar if I didn't say I got some type of sick, twisted kick out of watching something that bad and terrible. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's kind of fun to watch something that is kind of bad, and that's fine. You can have fun with that. You can have fun watching those shows, and again, I'm not gonna hate you, and if you think those shows are good, that's fine. I'm not gonna judge you for it. There's no reason to judge you for it, but I think we also need to at least look at ourselves and at least admit when a fun show is a bad show. Now, if you don't think that they are fun but bad shows, and you think they are good shows, that's fine. I want to know your reasons why in the comments down below. But if we do that, then we can move on to making the big three structure a little better, and a better reflection of not only the shonen genre of anime, but anime as a whole. Now, you're probably asking to yourself, well, if you don't like the last big three, and if you don't like the community's current big three, then what exactly are your recommendations for a big three you would like? Well, I do have a few suggestions on what anime I'd like to see up there in the big three, and there are some that at least the community has agreed with me with. I will also try my best to stick to anime that mostly is continuous and rather not anime that is already done or nearing the end. So as much as I would like to add it, as much as I would like to put it on the list, Attack on Titan probably will not be on here, but it will be an honorable mention because this is an anime that 100% should be in the big three and should have a big three spot, but unfortunately we're already getting its final season, and to be fair, I just feel not good putting an anime that is almost finished or finished on a list like that. However, I also will say that the big three that did finish already, which is Naruto and Bleach, were already still considered big threes for years after those shows were done. So I'll put it up as an honorable mention right now, but I'm just going to try to stick to shows that either are continuing or just kind of starting. The first show that I will say is probably the biggest one on this list that anybody in the community will probably agree with me is Demon Slayer. And yes, like I said, we want to think outside of the box. This one is both inside and outside of the box. It still does things in the shonen genre that are kind of the same, but they also do a lot of cool things that aren't the same, but you catch my drift. I think the show has amazing character development. I think the show has amazing music. Nezuko is an adorable just little bean. Everything about this is amazing. The world is amazing. The way they build Tanjiro as this sympathetic demon slayer who, rather than just wanting to eradicate all these demons, is sort of wanting to at least trying to give them some type of empathy and last moment that they can have to actually feel humanized, especially the ones that aren't just straight up demons or at least been demons for a long time, but the ones that still have some type of human connection left within them. I think that alone just stands as to be big three material, or at least a new structure of the big three material that I would definitely like to see. So Demon Slayer is definitely one of my main choices. Second recommendation for a big three contender would definitely be Promised Neverland. This show, from the get-go, turned my whole world upside down. It has done things to my mind mentally in terms of storytelling that I can't even comprehend. And we only have just one season of it. We're getting a second one soon. But this show has done so much in such a short amount of time. I love it. I love everything about this show. It's one of those just smart little thinky shows that you have to sit down, you just have to wonder if you're gonna guess what's right, if you're gonna know exactly what each character is going to do in terms of if they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to abandon a person, they're going to do something like that, only for you to just be presented with something that you never thought of before. This is what that show does, and this is why will be one of my recommendations in terms of big three contenders. The third one that I would pick personally is Re:Zero. It is a lovely, great story. It has one of the best girls in the anime. Not Emilia. It's not Emilia. I will fight you on that one. I know I said there's a lot of opinions, but I will fight you if you say Emilia. It's Rem. It's Rem. Let's be honest. It's Rem. And it's just a wonderful show. If you haven't watched Re:Zero yet, you'll love it. You'll love the story. You'll love the ability of the main character. You'll love what the main character goes through and how heavy of a weight he has to carry within the world and what he has to do. It's an amazing show, and this show is obviously a fucking big three contender. My next recommendation in terms of big three contenders would definitely be Mob Psycho. Now, I probably wouldn't have said this back in season 1, but season 2 being paired together with that and finally actually having all that definitely made it so much more enjoyable. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it's done, I don't know if it's finished, I don't know if we're getting another season, I don't know if there's more to the series. It kind of felt like we're gonna get more, kind of felt like we will get more. If it is finished, I apologize, and it'll be left as an honorable mention, or I'll make some type of comment in the editing if I do. But Mob Psycho is definitely one that is big three contender material. It is fucking amazing. Now the next one, and I feel a little iffy putting it on here, but it made enough an impression on me when it first got released, would be Rising Shield Hero. Rising Shield Hero was a good show. Now it did play very, very close to your typical anime tropes and suggestions, but I think the idea of having your main character being like a shield wielder and having this crazy power and being talented with a shield is impressive. Now, I will admit it's not the direction I thought it was going to go down. I thought it was going to go down more of a he just gets really creative with the shield, not the over amount of crazy and kind of problematic power creep that is within the show. However, I would say that this quality is good, my man. It is good, and it is definitely Big 3 contender material. Another one I feel iffy about, and definitely after its season 2, is One Punch Man. Now, everyone knows about season 1 of One Punch Man. That shit was fantastic. But season 2 definitely felt like more of a letdown. It definitely felt like more of a disappointing endeavor in terms of animation wise, but at least when it comes to the story, I personally don't think it was disappointing at all. It was really interesting to actually have Saitama go and realize that while he is one of the strongest heroes, and while he doesn't really have a challenger at the moment, he more has to deal with how he views life, how he views himself as a hero, how he kind of wants to go about being a hero. And it kind of removes the fact that he's so powerful, kind of removes the threat that he has against the world, and gets rid of the worry of actually being a superhero, and more looks at the core aspect of what it actually means and what you really do to actually feel like you are a superhero yourself. And I think that, more than anything, is far and beyond impressive writing. I gotta admit, I definitely was iffy on it when I first watched it, but going back and watching the whole series and watching it again definitely made me sit there and be like, you know what? I'm down with this. I'm down with the writing, and I'm very interested to see what they do. Especially the introduction of Gawaru, I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but who's basically the complete opposite. Somebody who is trying to get that power because he was so weak and trying to get as much power as he can, but also in the same boat as Saitama of not really understanding what it means to have that power and to what to do with that power. And oh man, when they fight, it's going to not only be a clashing of powers, but of clashing of ideals, and that alone, to get to that moment, is going to make that show Big 3 material. If it gets another season, because we don't really have an announcement on it, and then I guess with the second season not doing so well, or I guess it did do well. I don't know. I'm just taking my ass at this point, but Big 3 material, One Punch Man. My next option, and probably my most favorite option in the series, other than Demon Slayer, but second only to Demon Slayer, would be Fire Force. This bad boy is Big 3 material. This is another one the community seems to be kind of rallying behind as well as a Big 3 contender, but my god, this anime is fucking great. It's great. It's amazing. Shinra's development as having that power but still trying to find like new and creative ways to use it is amazing. The whole universe and the building of just villains and lore and angelic people and evangelists and all these things and fire, and I think the most impressive thing to me, and the thing that was definitely going to be very skeptical in a sense, was how were they going to make each and every fire user unique and different. And in the first season, we definitely saw that they definitely thought things out through quite a bit, essentially, especially since a lot of the weirder ones do make sense, like I forget his name, but one of the members of Company 1's ice ability, that is not actually an ice ability, but a weird thing where he overdoes something with particles or something like that, that is able to actually form and make, it's so weird. But the second season, and it's not even done, but the current season that we're on right now has proven to be even more and creative, especially with the powers of both Skullbelt dude that we see in like the more recent episodes, and Inka's powers, which that one definitely is one that threw me off as not as useful as I thought it would be, but thinking about it more will definitely be a lot more interesting down the road, and a lot more destructive than I sure would be, as seeing as she is a fire user that doesn't necessarily have to move around much for her to actually really activate her power, which is quite interesting. Fire Force is such a creative show, and that alone I'm glad that the community is rallying to want to be big three contenders, but consider me to be on that boat. Consider me to be on that boat of Fire Force being a big three contender. And I want to say thank you to all of you who's watching this video. I know that this is kind of a little bit of a longer video. I know I did a little bit of rambling, but I do enjoy that you sat through the whole thing, and I do appreciate you for watching. If you really want to have this discussion, go ahead and comment down below. Or as a matter of fact, go on my discussion page on my channel so we can actually sit down and have a discussion on the big three and exactly what the big three is all about. And I want to give a special thank you to my new partners, Glissos. Glissos is a brand of glasses. They make some pretty good glasses in terms of exotic ones, crazy ones. I got my own little pair of sunglasses the other day. They look sexy on me. They look great on me. I mean, just look at me. Look at me. I look like a sexy son of a bitch. And you too can look like a sexy son of a bitch if you go ahead and use my code MuseKudasaki for 50% off your purchase. Click on the referral code down below, use my code, and you using that code and buying these glasses supports the channel so I can start making more content just like this. Glissos, make yourself already look more fabulous than you already are. That's not their slogan, that's just the thing I'm probably going to be saying, because this is a great brand. You need to go check them out. They're amazing, they're beautiful. Like I said, their glasses are sexy. Their glasses are lovely. I like their glasses. So go ahead, check them out, give them a little bit of a peek, buy some stuff from them, use my referral code, use my referral link, use my referral code, get yourself something nice, and support your boy in making more content like this. And that's it. That's all I've really got to say on the matter. My name has been MuseKudasaki. Thank you all for participating and watching. Remember to stay hydrated, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.